Rudolph. This is the great Steve Wyche. I'm Colleen Wolfe, and we are here for this doubleheader Saturday in all of its glory. We have 11 teams fighting for 5 playoff spots in the final week of the season. Are you not entertained?
This is so great, Colleen, because you talk about the playoff spots. We've got seeding at stake right here, and to kick it off with a rivalry game like this, people are going to say, oh, well, the Ravens aren't playing all their guys. It is still Steelers and Ravens, so this is a good way to kick the weekend off. In this weather, too? All right, so the Ravens, they already have that 1 seed, resting starters, getting in their pre-playoff flow. Here's the deal with the Steelers, though. Win today against the Ravens, who have nothing at stake besides staying healthy and reaching incentives. Then they just need the Jags or the Bills to lose tomorrow, and they're in, but the Steelers can also still get in. If they lose, it just is a little bit more complicated. So let's just make life easier on yourselves. The Steelers, they are rolling with Mason Rudolph, as you saw, over Kenny Pickett, with their season absolutely on the line. So what has impressed you about Mason Rudolph these past 2 weeks, other than the fact that, like, the offense is really working well? Well, I mean, and that's the part. He's driving it. I mean, he stepped in after Mitch Trubisky faltered and basically ran the offense like, this is my team. I mean, he has total confidence. Their offensive line is playing well. They've had a great run-pass balance. I mean, he's had great games the last 2 games, 0 interceptions, and he's thrown the ball fewer than 28 times while completing about 69% of his passes, Colleen. That means the efficiency that they have been looking for all season is working, but most importantly, he's being aggressive throwing the ball downfield. That is the important part of it. He's hitting outside the numbers, in the middle of the field, and that's why you're hearing their receivers, who can get a little disgruntled, do you think? Being pretty quiet about the way Mason Rudolph is playing, and that's why Mike Tomlin was smart to get him in the starting lineup again in an important game like this. That's kind of crazy. The only 2 30-plus point games for the Steelers this year have been these last 2 starts for Mason Rudolph. It's a resume builder. Everything is sort of working better in general. Let's bring in our Sherry Burris to set the scene in Baltimore. Sherry, today's game might be battling 2 storm fronts. I feel like you are always in the weather games.
I'm also a weather reporter. I don't know if you guys knew that. We are starting off, though, week 18 with some kind of yucky, chilly, cold, rainy weather, but expecting a good one here between the Steelers and Ravens. And leading the charge for this seemingly reinvigorated Steelers offense, as you guys mentioned, is quarterback Mason Rudolph. This week, head coach Mike Tomlin said because of the urgency of needing to get a win to keep their playoff hopes alive, they're keeping the ball in Rudolph's hands. Also, the fact that the offense is clicking so well with him averaging 32 points per game, the most that they have scored all season. Tomlin credited Rudolph's aggressiveness and confidence, and now that's contagious throughout the team. And speaking to Cam Hayward this week, he echoed that same message. There's a strong belief in Rudolph. He said it's because of the way that he's really taken the reins on this role. But as you mentioned it, Colleen, there's going to be another backup quarterback, Snoop Huntley. Tyler Huntley starting for Lamar Jackson this week. He did say that he knows Steelers defense is going to be physical, but they themselves just need to go out there, put up points, and the defense will take care of the rest.
And I know that all of these fans, you mentioned, Sherry, that there were fans already tailgating in the parking lot with the rain and the weather as it is. They're loyal. We love it. We'll talk to you a little bit later, Sherry. Thank you very much for that update. So, Steve, 9 teams left in Super Bowl contention in the AFC. 5 who haven't locked in playoff spots yet, and only 3 of those are up for grabs. So the Ravens, meanwhile, chilling atop the conference, getting a nice head start on their bye week, sitting Lamar Jackson today. Ian Rappaport sitting with us today for some more background on the Ravens' decision to rest Lamar Jackson. Hello, Ian. Happy Saturday to you.
It's not just Lamar Jackson who is down for the Baltimore Ravens, really a star-studded inactive list. It's Lamar Jackson, coach's decision. It's Zay Flowers. It is several other starters for the Baltimore Ravens. And in fact, despite the fact that, let's say, Roquan Smith not on the inactive list, I'd be surprised if he plays today as well. But, of course, the focus is on the starting quarterback for the Ravens. And here's my understanding of the situation. It's really pretty simple. If Lamar Jackson is healthy, the Ravens can win the Super Bowl. And the last couple seasons at the end, he has not been healthy, really making it much tougher on them in the playoffs than it should be. Nothing is as important for the Ravens as making sure Lamar Jackson is upright. When it all comes down to it, no doubt the Steelers are going to be playing out of their minds today. Keep Lamar out of harm's way.
Okay, so you could also say that the Steelers are resting their quarterback, Kenny Pickett, but it's a quite different situation with Mason Rudolph's revival. How does this whole thing play out in your mind?
Listen to where Mason Rudolph has come from. This past offseason, there was little to no interest in signing Mason Rudolph, so much so that he actually shadowed a couple senators and congressmen on Capitol Hill and interned at an architectural firm and a commercial real estate firm planning for life after football. Now he is starting with the Steelers playing the hot hand. However, despite the fact that Mason Rudolph is going, my understanding is the organization does still believe in Kenny Pickett and in no way wants to move on from him after the season. Still a ton of confidence that he can be a franchise starter. It's really just a matter of playing right now the quarterback that gives them the best chance.
Well, this is a big spot for Mason Rudolph in terms of playoffs and in terms of his future going forward. Ian, I know that you will track it for us every step of the way. So again, happy Saturday to you. Is live in Indy at Lucas Oil. She turned the lights on there this morning, so we thank you for that. The last time these two teams played back in week 2, both teams looked completely different. How much has changed as we get ready for this massive week 18 matchup?
Yeah, Colleen, for starters, the Colts have a new starting quarterback in Gardner Minshew, who did not start that game week 2 against the Texans. Wide receiver for this team, Alec Pierce, told me this week, Minshew is a fierce competitor. He's a guy who just has that it factor. He said when Anthony Richardson went down earlier this season, his confidence never wavered because he knows how hard Minshew works. As the starter, Minshew is 5-0 with the Colts when he does not throw an interception. But keep an eye on the battle in the trenches out here today. The Colts have 3 offensive linemen, all listed as questionable, and they'll face a Texans pass rush without their sack leader, Jonathan Grenard, and their 3 other front rushers, all listed as questionable. We'll monitor that as we get closer to kickoff. Something that will help Minshew, though, Jonathan Taylor is back. Remember, he did not play in that week 2 matchup. He leads this team with 6 rushing touchdowns, and he has more rushing touchdowns and rushing yards against the Texans than any other team in his career. And Colleen and Steve, I'll leave you with this fun little fact. Gardner Minshew was the guy, Juju Brents tells me, that back in training camp, he was alone by himself just playing the ukulele in his room. He says he's never changed. He's still that same guy who loves music. He was playing the piano in Germany. They never have let him on the aux yet in the locker room, but you have to imagine if he gets a win for this team and leads them to the playoffs, maybe he'll get his chance on the aux after this one.
Oh my gosh, I would love to see that. I had no idea that he played the ukulele as well. I mean,
I had no clue.
Man of many talents.
What a talented guy. Unbelievable.